back to the Players era. All right,
Yeah.
I'm going to pepper you with questions. You're the one that had the 23-minute read. 18 teams are in this.
Yes.
It fell.
15-minute read. Let's be real. 18 on the men's side, 4 on the women's side. Yes.
Okay. 18 teams. How much does each team get?
That is to be determined. A year ago, everyone got $1 million, and then the top 4 teams. And these are all very good questions, by the way. Let's just go players era for dummies. Yeah, without a doubt. Many teams involved, because I asked the founders, will be receiving $1 million. It is not clear at this moment whether every single team will receive $1 million. And an important distinction here, because there's a lot of detractors. Basically, every other MTE operator in the space looks at the players era and says, there's no way they can pull off, say they're pulling off. This will eventually fall apart at some point. That in mind, teams are now more on the hook for ticket sales, the same way they get to be in college football with the bowls. But generally speaking, the majority of teams are expected to bring in, if not $1 million, close to $1 million this year. When we go to 32 next year, that number will collectively come down for a number of teams.
So one of the things we always hear is, man, this is a way for the players to get some extra money in their pocket. Let's talk specifically players. Elmarko Jackson's going to be there. He's going to play 3 games this week for Kansas. How much money he's going to make this week?
Good question. I couldn't tell you exactly with Elmarko Jackson, but I did ask the co-founders.
Or anybody, you get the point.
How this actually works. Everything that they do for NIL, some of it's as simple as they're doing stuff on a phone, and it's being done through that. It will be and has been reviewed by NIL Go through Deloitte. It's also dependent on the team. So it's a very good question, Parrish, because I talked to a couple of coaches on background about this back over the summer, and coaches have very different. One coach might say that the entire team is going to get pretty close to even. Another coach and program might say, actually, that's not how we're breaking this down. And here's how it's going to break down after the fact. But I think if you are a player that matters, a player, let's talk about like the 20 or 25 players that will probably wind up mattering most in this. They will be earning for sure 5-figure NIL compensation to play in this event.
It is interesting how different programs break this stuff down differently. Yep. I know one program, I'm sure you do too, that actually has an algorithm that they use. They've created an algorithm. So think of something like player efficiency rating. It's not that, but it's something they create. And it's like, okay, you're number 1 in our algorithm. You get this percentage of our budget. You're number 2 in our algorithm. You get this percentage of our budget. And, they'll allow themselves some wiggle room, and you got to negotiate sometimes, but they basically have a board in place that says, if you are this is what you get. If you are this, and you guys get to decide what you are. It's up to y'all. And so, and then there's others that they'll make it even. And then others that, they pay the people. It's just like, you're signing free agents and you pay whatever you got to pay. All right. How do the organizers explain to you that this is financially feasible? Because so many people are skeptical of that. And I want to be clear, just because people are skeptical of it doesn't mean anything to me. Like, the people who are skeptical of it probably aren't on the inside in the room looking at the, spreadsheets and stuff. But I'm interested, when you talk to these people, how do they explain to you, yes, we can afford to pay all this money to all these schools and still make money ourselves?
Correct. So a year ago, the tournament did not make money. This year, Ian Orphis, who previously was a chief executive at Time Inc., is now the CEO of a production company called Everwonder. This is the company that has helped Netflix do the NFL Christmas Day games. It did the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson flight on Netflix. It's done some documentaries, all this stuff. They helped make sure that the tournament could essentially be solvent and still operate at a loss a year ago. He said this year they will operate not only in the black, but ticket sales and sponsorship revenues will cover the cost of the tournament. This is a quote from Orphis. Quote, "My previous role running Time is why we run this differently than most other event organizers. When we look to the future, the main difference between Players Era and any other early season tournaments in the past, they were running a single basketball tournament. Players Era is a brand. It has different product lines. We have another basketball showcase we're excited to announce shortly. We're exploring college football opportunities. Players Era is a media company. It is not a basketball tournament." He said the sponsorship with Geico is significant. Do I have a number for you? I do not. I frankly hope to get that number on the record at some point over the next 3 days. We'll see if they disclose that. Publicis Group is another media company that has put in a ton of money. MGM Resorts International has also provided a lot of money. It's their properties here. The event will take place at 2 different arenas. Michelob Ultra Arena, which I was over there today, really nice arena. That's where the Las Vegas Aces play, and then Grand Garden Arena, which has been around forever. Big boxing fights have happened there. Those are the two arenas where the games are going to happen. That, in addition to north of at least 6 million, and apparently, I don't have this officially on the record, but apparently ticket sales might be able to climb to 8 or 9 million after not making a dent whatsoever a year ago. That is additionally how they are helping fund and get a tournament in the black. On the men's side, the founders did say that the women's side will operate at a deficit this year.
Yeah. MGM. Sounds like somebody's trying to get into Hakkasan. You trying to get a Hakkasan night?
I told Josh before we went live that there was a chance we might drift into some previous stories here. I will not be going to Hakkasan.
Oh, buddy, you froze again.
Your boy over there, if you're watching this on the left side of the screen, it's Hakkasan. I'm back. Am I back? Am I back?
Know, man.
I'm
You're
here.
back now. You're back now.
Hakkasan. Okay, Hakkasan. Listen. It's the hotel Wi-Fi. Okay, you've lived the life. I'm living it right now. GP has some Hakkasan stories from back in the day, but we got a lot to get to, and we can't get sidetracked. But no, I will not.
Trust me, I don't think it's in anybody's best interest for any Hakkasan stories to get out there. All right, I think everybody swore that maybe that night we didn't swear because nobody could really think straight by the end of it. But I think the next day it was like, all right, I don't think we need to talk about that ever again.
Keep it rolling. I will not be going to Hakkasan.
Okay. Last thing on Players Era. You just talked about ticket sales, but I don't know what those numbers mean. Here's what I'm asking you. So often in these neutral court tournaments, we turn them on and it's like, oh, cool. That team and that team's playing in Brooklyn. Nobody's there.
Right.
What's this going to look like when I turn on my television? What is this? Is it going to look like? Man, there's big time basketball, and all the seats are filled, because that is one of the things that makes Maui awesome. Is that you turn it on and there's not an empty spot in the place. What's this going to look like?
That's a good question, because they are selling out sessions. Not selling out, they are selling sessions. So, for example, I'll be at Baylor Creighton to start on Monday. But then the next game after that is St. John's and Iowa State. So it stands to reason that one of those fan bases facing the camera will probably be either St. John's or Iowa State. So you could still get that during the first game. But apparently there's going to be a pretty decent contingent that shows up. But as this kind of goes along, I'll keep you updated on all.
Oh, buddy, it's going to be a struggle, it looks like. Looks like somebody needs a hot spot.
All that. The co-founders of the event and some coaches. I do need a hot spot. Okay, I need a hot spot, don't I? You want me to switch over to the hot spot, that GP? Because I'll do it. I'll do it right here, right now.
It can't be worse.
I can't hotspot it. No, it can. Look at this. You ready for this? That's one bar. We're just gonna power through this. Okay. End the segment. I know you want to end the segment. Yes. I'm trying to think of this. Hold on. Before we get out of here for the next segment, don't freeze on me, please, StreamYard. On Monday, the Big 12 will announce a 4 or 5 year deal with Players Era, so that the top 8 schools, the Big 12, will autofill into the 32 team Players Era tournament starting in 6. This is an unprecedented arrangement. Even with that, there's going to be some inconsistencies. For example, Arizona is scheduled to play in Maui next year. Arizona is going to finish in the top 8 of the Big 12 this season. I don't think you'll see Arizona and Players Era next year. We'll see what happens beyond that. But it is a significant partnership for the viability and long-term sustainability of Players Era. So just keep that in mind. I'm just ping-ponging around on a few different things. Since this is not a bracket for this year, and it will be next year, the teams that will have a chance to finish in the championship game in top 4, you have to go 2-0, and then it's the margin of victory. And if the margin of victory is the same, then it's whichever team averages more points per game. And then
I don't want any of this.
I know you don't. I'm just telling you what it is. And then if that is still the same, which it won't, it is whatever team allowed the fewest points per game. But there is an inherent, even though Kansas doesn't have Darren Peterson, Kansas has to play Syracuse and Notre Dame, not projected tournament teams. Meanwhile, Gonzaga and Alabama have to play each other. So the slope and the team that you have to play against is not exactly even. So that is obviously ripe for some deserved criticism overall. But if you're wondering how this in general works and why we don't know the Wednesday matchups, that's exactly why. It will be entirely dependent on who wins, who loses, and what their Yes, margin of victories. Oh, but also it caps. So the margin of victory caps at 20. So you can't run up the score by 47. Once you win by 20, that's as much as you can go.
I'm still winning by 47. Whether you give
You
me credit
can,
for it or not.
but I'm just telling you, for margin of victory, it caps at 20. There's plenty
Will
more.
not-
Go read the
will not
15-minute read at CBS Sports.
It will not impact my approach at all. You can cap me at 20. I'm still trying to beat you by 47. I hate that aspect of this. I would, if I would have been in the room, I would have said, hey, guys, instead of doing 18 men's teams, let's cut it to 16 and have two 8-team tournaments and play it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and have two 8-team brackets. I would have suggested that. I like to look at a bracket. I like to play in my Wednesday. I have no idea what I'm going to be watching on Wednesday. I don't even know what the possibilities are. And I don't like that, but whatever. Last thing I'll say, for everybody who's wondering or worried about whether it is financially feasible, this event, like I wouldn't care. Like if I'm Kelvin Sampson or Bill Self or whomever, I'm just like, is my check going to clear this year? Then we'll be there. And then you guys can figure out whether you can do it again next year or not. But as long as my checks keep clearing, this is what we're going to do. And I'm not really worried about it. Like I don't care if they make money as long as my check gets delivered. So it just seems like there's a lot of oxygen used on that part of this conversation. And I just don't know why anybody really cares other than the people who need to make money. Like I don't need to make money off of it. And Kelvin Sampson doesn't need to make money off of it. Kelvin Sampson just needs to make sure they get the check that they promised him to give. And if you keep doing that every year, we'll keep coming back every year. And the first time you can't, well, then we'll stop. But thinking about it any more than that seems like wasted energy to me.
I agree. I've got
every time he freezes now, I'm just going to freeze just like him.
Did you just
and then we
lose
won't
me
be able to tell what's going on.
Yeah,
I've decided that every time you freeze, I'm just going to freeze too. So when I see you freeze, I just go like this.
Okay, fair enough. This is an amazing, by the way, this is an amazing listen for people not watching the show. Like, what are these idiots talking about? What I was going to say was, if there's anything
look, I look frozen, but I'm not. I'm not frozen.
I know. I got it.
Look how frozen I look.
I got it, buddy. I got it. If anything notable
But
develops
I'm not
Monday
frozen.
or Tuesday,
I'm not frozen.
I'll
I was
try and
tricking
do
you.
a quick hit pod.